Well, they applauded the living daylights out of them. Maybe they're just being nice. It is a pleasure to have you along once again with my State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke, weeknights here at 7:30, repeat at 11:30, and on foxprovidence.com/myritv. Anytime after the show was produced, you can catch it online. It is a busy show here tonight. Terry Gorman for Rhode Islanders for Immigration Law Enforcement. I always have trouble with that one. It's a tongue twister for me somehow. But Terry will be here. He's got plenty, I'm sure, to react to from the governor's speech last night on the state of the state and some of the politics of 2014. Terry's an earnest voice in this community and needs to be heard. In the meantime, let us earnestly go to the rundown. I'm always searching for the big idea. This is the best we can do, I guess. We'll kind of highlight that. There's a little bit of, what's the guy on SNL, Kev? What do we say his name is? John Lovett. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah, I'll explain. It's getting weirder and weirder in Cranston. Really? This is good news. I just don't trust it. And we always can and should. And I think his cold is better. So that's kind of where we are. Did something just fall when I just bang? Don't bang the table. Let's get on with issue number one. Chafee's last big idea. Well, let's put it this way: amongst the things that the governor has proposed here with his new State of the State, which is, as the Journal more or less hit it straight on, a focus on familiar themes. He wants to borrow a lot of money. He wants to borrow at least $275 million worth of money to take care of some environmental issues and transportation issues and a whole bunch of other things. And he doesn't want to raise any taxes. That's good. He wants to get the local communities, the school systems, a little bit more money. That could be good. And there's some other stuff in there, but there's no real big idea. I've been looking for the big idea, the turnaround idea, but at the same time, let's be fair. Most people just want him to leave. And I say that with respect. I try to say that with respect, but everywhere I turn, people just say something like, is he still there? Did you watch the State of the State last night? Why? So he's operating in that kind of constituent deficit. But one of the things that Link Chafee does is he just dabbles in stuff and leaves you hanging. For instance, this proposal for transportation.
Congestion and gridlock are becoming more commonplace throughout our state. Therefore, I propose a $40 million bond issue be placed on the November ballot. These funds will be used to undertake major enhancements and renovations to mass transit hub systems at key locations in our state. To facilitate this work, I have included $250,000 from the Rhode Island Capital Fund Plan for preliminary design of this new hub strategy. Good investment. As we all know, good mass transit will spur economic growth.
What are they applauding? It's kind of like they're on autopilot. Is that a pause? That's great. $40 million to borrow. There's nothing specific. I don't know whether he just wants to spruce up some of the already spruced up parking lots and train stations that are not really having anybody use them in Wickford and Warwick right now. What is he talking about? He doesn't tell us. That's got to be dead on arrival. Look, I'd like to see in a 50-mile long and 35-mile wide state, I'd like to see us be like the Disneyland of, maglev and all sorts of trains, and I'd take them. You want to do a multi-billion-dollar initiative to lead the world? Okay, but what is this? Just enough to make a speech and get the heck out of there. Let's go to Cranston. This is, hey, new news. Yeah, that's the ticket. They wanted it. Yeah, that's it. We ticketed the wards there in Cranston because they asked for it. Do you remember the two counselors from Cranston, Steve Stikos and Paul Arquetto, who were here 2 shows ago when this ticket blitz story, when the ticket blitz, the day after the finance committee that these 2 guys were on voted 4-3 to say no to the police contract that was negotiated between the union and the mayor and all that. You've heard a lot about this, right? They were wondering, who it could possibly be.
My theory is it had to be someone higher up ordered it, because The city's divided into 3 police districts, and Paul's ward is in the center district, and my ward is in the eastern district. So the people who run at the sergeant level, who run the first district, someone had to say we're doing both districts tonight, so they had to be over the sergeant.
Okay, that was show number 1. Jess points this out to me back on December 18th. Now remember, this ticket thing began in November. It was a 2-day event after the no vote in November. And then the last show they were on, which is what date? Just last week, right? January 13th? Is that this week or last week? I can't even tell. Is that Monday of this week? They were thinking about, the chief's role or whatever. Let's hear that. The union president, who's a captain, has been rumored to be at the helm of this. Do you have anything else to fill in on that?
I don't have any more details on that, but I think it would be helpful if these people came forward and said what they knew.
Now, that wasn't specific to the chief's role. That's my bad. But the chief, by the time we had this show, had been moved to administrative leave by the mayor because the mayor brought in the state police to run the police department. So we've been wondering, who ordered this ticket blitz? And then this headline appears today in the Providence Journal: Police Union Leader Orders Ticket Blitz. Yeah, Steve Antonucci, who's a captain. Why is a captain of a police department running a union that high up in the rank? It's a very strange thing they got going over there in Cranston. But he, through his attorney, Joe Rodeo, who will appear on this broadcast next Tuesday, mark that, said, yeah, you know what, we did it because they asked for it. They were sending memos and making calls for stricter law enforcement of parking ordinances in their wards, and it just happens to be coincidence that we unloaded in those particular wards on the night of the contract downturn, or, no vote. It doesn't pass the laugh test, but interesting. So today, Paul Arquette, one of the 2 counselors, talked to me about what's happening tonight, which is that the Cranston Finance Committee is calling on a resolution to ask the mayor to come to testify to what he knows about all this. He explained it to me on the radio today. Have you heard from the mayor's office as to what the response is going to be if this resolution passes?
No, we haven't. We haven't even heard from the mayor's office on why the chief has been put on administrative leave. So he lacks communication with the council. He's very isolated in his position.
I have never seen such a mess from something the original was so small. Of course, using your authority to send a political message is not a small matter anyway, but I think you know what I mean. Crazy. All right, let's move along. This is, stay tuned for that Cranston stuff. It's an ongoing situation. Really? Okay. Headline today in the Providence Journal: panel seeking alternative to Sakana toll. This was a whole big commission, legislative commission, that was put together to study the tolls, which by law are ready to go up to 75 cents if you've got a, an easy pass, and $12 and $5, whatever, if you don't have one. On Newsmakers this past weekend, the majority and minority leaders wondered out loud about what was going to happen. The majority leader saying he's not really leaning toward tolls, but I don't know. And the minority leader saying, you know what, it ain't going to get done.
I will tell you, I argued for the placeholder. It's in fact in place at 10 cents, so I don't think there's any prejudice to anyone except the state's allowed to maintaining the tolling should we find that that's the best thing to do.
My prediction, and I know people in East Bay may not want to hear this, just my prediction, not what I necessarily want to see happen, is that the tolls will in fact go up. And the reason I say that is very simple. By default, they're going to go up, and I misspoke on another show, competitor show a couple weeks ago, but it's in April. And that means we have to act in some capacity to prevent them from going in effect to the full value of whatever the Bridge and Turnpike Authority wanted by April.
Yeah, and Brian didn't think, that's Brian Newberry, he didn't think they could get it done by that time. Well, the report's late. They didn't issue a report, they just burped a little bit. And Senator Louis DePalma from Middletown, talking about this bridge, which is really nothing more than an overpass. I mean, it's not like the Pell Bridge, for heaven's sake. It's an overpass, a very expensive one, no doubt. Anyway, he comes out of this saying, listen, we're going to come up with some kind of plan to reorganize the whole shooting match of how we fund our infrastructure, but it's not going to be with a toll for the Seconic. Well, that's his constituency he's referring to, and that's a lot of braggadocio. I hope he's right, but there's no evidence of substance, so we'll kind of see how it goes. And speaking of bridges, The real big bridge, the one that you pay tolls for, and you kind of figure you should because it's so big and so profound, needs to be made safer, says the Rhode Island Turnpike and Bridge Authority. And here's a picture of, well, here's a headline. The authority installs reflective dividers on the Pell Bridge. That's projo.com today. And here's what they look like. These things, these doohickeys, will be now in the middle lane to prevent accidents which have occurred. We'll have more on this story tomorrow, but that's a good first step. I've always wondered why there isn't a major, barrier on that bridge. Ought to make it safer. I just hope it doesn't make it too tight in the lanes. Watch what you're doing on the bridge, especially when we got weather. And finally, speaking of weather, he was under the weather, and now he's okay. Yeah, we saw this video of Mr. Mallet, in practice. Ryan Mallet, the backup guy. I mean, nobody even knows how to spell his name, for crying out loud. And the Patriot Nation was very worried that Tom didn't show up for practice yesterday. There's the backup quarterback, a Brady-less package, or a practice, I should say. But he had the sniffles. He's back. He had the cold last week. I just hope he doesn't catch the flu. I've met a couple of people who've gotten the flu, and it's not pretty this year. Wash your hands, whether you play football or not. They're flying out today as we speak, I guess, and get ready for Sunday. It's the first game of what is the best day in football, I think, the AFC-NFC Championship Day. When we come back, Terry Gorman from Rhode Islanders for Immigration Law Enforcement on the governor, on the politics, on it all.
I'm a Democrat that believes that undocumented workers should be able to get driver's licenses. It's not just about safety, it's about doing the right thing.
I mentioned that earlier this week after Gina Raimondo's announcement for governor, her formal announcement, her kickoff, so to speak. I talked about it on the radio, and I wondered out loud what the last part of that remark was. Like, it's the right thing. And of course, one of the go-to folks that you need to talk to about this stuff are the people who run Rhode Islanders for Immigration Law Enforcement. This is a look at their website, and I tell you, under the leadership of Terry Gorman, they are maybe one of the most stamina-built organizations I think we have in Rhode Island, right, Terry?
Thank you.
Because you're pounding away in a gentlemanly and diplomatic fashion all the time, and you make such substantial, important points. Yet, you got to feel like you're swimming upstream against a tide of diversity conversation that in many ways has gotten to be impractical, I think.
Well, it's gotten to be like Niagara Falls, Dan, trying to swim up Niagara Falls. That's how bad it is in Rhode Island. And you're right, it almost seems like a futile fight, but you can't give up. You have to keep bringing up the problem because someday people are going to realize how serious it is, and then somebody's going to do something about it.
Right. We'll talk about the organization itself and what the real totality of Terry's mission is. But you called my radio program earlier this week in reaction to what Gina had to say. And I had said on the air, okay, look, if you're going to sell me on the safety issues of undocumented citizens, illegal aliens, driving out there and give them licenses because we need to have them accountable, that's one thing. But when the right thing to do, wait a second, that's some code, right?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. And if you wanted to spell out the code, you could spell it out with pandering. And that's all it is pandering to the Hispanic community by her saying those things. Because she would hopefully get their vote. And the more she could help out illegal aliens, which happens to be the majority of the illegal aliens are Hispanic, because the majority of the immigrants that are here are Hispanic, then the Hispanic community would kind of want to look out for them.
Well, you see, this is the thing. We talk about this all the time, you and I. It's not like, look, people who happen to be Latino or Hispanic who are legal citizens, I guess we count on them doing the bidding for illegal immigrants who happen to be Latino and Hispanic as well. This notion that the Latino vote, the legitimate legal Latino vote, is out there to be had by pandering to the illegal or undocumented community, it seems to me that do you think that's a false notion?
No, I don't. I think that's absolutely true.
You think it's true? So legal Latino voters
are looking. It's just like when the Italians came here and the Irish came here. You couldn't get an Irishman to turn in another Irishman for doing something bad on the best day of your life. And the same thing with the Italian community. And it's the same thing with the Hispanic community.
Okay, so they are one and the same no matter whether they have legal status or not.
Yeah, and
in general.
In general, and
because I've heard many people on the radio show who happen to be Latino
yeah.
who take umbrage with that. But you think in general that is the case?
In general, when they go in the voting booth, that's what they're thinking about. And when they talk to me, also, they would take umbrage with that notion. But they believe what they believe. Like I said on the radio, that's a great ethnic group. Their values are Republican values, yet they vote Democrat. That's the same thing as what I'm saying now.
Right.
If you did a survey of all the Hispanics in the state of Rhode Island, the legal Hispanic families in the state of Rhode Island, you would find that their values are mostly Republican. And and they're hard-working group, the whole 9 yards. We love them. I just don't like the illegal alien portion of it. And I mean, it's evident that the problems that are being created for the Latino community as well as the rest of the citizens of the state of Rhode Island.
All right, we'll talk about that when we come back, what those problems are. And of course, the governor always gets into this action as well. Stay with us.
I'm proud that we are living up to our state's long legacy of diversity and tolerance. We have rescinded the divisive E-Verify law. We have given all qualified Rhode Island students the opportunity to receive in-state tuition.
You know, one of that latter notion Terry and I have had spirited arguments about, but this notion that the E-Verify law is like one of the most nasty things ever constructed. I think that has to be the most misunderstood thing that we've had to deal with here in the state of Rhode Island. When Don Carcieri, the former governor, issued by executive order the E-Verify mandates, and Link Chafee couldn't wait to undo them. Yeah. The demonization involved in this E-Verify thing is incredible. Explain to everybody.
Well, E-Verify, when that came out, all it is a system to verify that a person is legitimately allowed to work in the United States, period.
That's all it is.
And we already have it with the I-9 form. The problem with the I-9 form is employers historically have just had you fill out the I-9 form. It goes in a drawer, and it's subject to audit by the federal government.
They don't have to send it anywhere automatically.
No. It's on file, and nobody ever goes to check the I-9 file. So you can do anything you want. So E-Verify basically improves that system and requires that an employer has to check. Now, right away, people would say, like, Senator, is it Ruggiero? The majority leader in the Senate told me, look, the thing wrong with E-Verify is it prevents people from getting jobs. Now, that's absolutely wrong. And for him, somebody his stature to say that tells you how it is up there. A person goes, puts in an application for a job. You, Dan Yorke, look over the application, say, Terry Gorman, looks like you're a pretty good go here for this job. You got the job. After I'm hired, I'm in the factory doing my work that you trained me to do, we send off the E-Verify form to the government. It's verified with Social Security and Homeland Security, and it comes back and says, Dan, Terry Gorman's allowed to work. Fine. Or, Dan, Terry Gorman, his Social Security number is false. You got to do something.
There are companies that volunteer into this system.
Oh, we have like 1,300 companies in Rhode Island that already use E-Verify.
The E-Verify statutory thing was an executive order. The governor actually was just looking for the state to do it and for people doing business with the state to do it, and Link Chafee pulled it out. And it's become this like bigger than life conversation, and it's too bad because I think there has been a lot of demagoguing that's gone on with this illegal immigrant, illegal alien, undocumented citizen, whatever you want to put it. Give me, we only got a couple minutes, give me what you think the landscape for 2014 is going to be. Is this conversation even going to rise to any level of attention during the 2014 political season?
Well, Senator Cody has already put in legislation, S-2030, to put in E-Verify again. And I'm soliciting some people in the House of Representatives, which will probably be more difficult, but to get somebody to sponsor it there too. But the I couldn't remember all of the names of the sponsors on Senator Cody's bill, but some of them are
legislation,
impressive.
I mean, you're up there talking legislation all the time, but do you think what might happen in dribs and drabs at the State House will catch fire on a gubernatorial level? That kind of, so the state rep and state senator races, because you've been around so long making the same arguments over and over, sometimes it just becomes white noise simply because it's just gone on too long.
Yeah, oh, here comes Terry Gorman again.
Right.
I thought he was going to give it up.
Right.
And
because you and your organization are the only ones battling on this.
Yeah. Well, we keep coming up with people that are willing to try to help us out. The problem is, and you would know it probably better than anybody, people want instant results. They want to go up there to the State House today, yell and scream like there's no tomorrow, and they want to go and read the paper the next day and say the problem's been solved. And it doesn't work that way.
You should know, just everyday guy. Tell everybody, you're just an everyday guy who took this thing on.
Yeah, just because I got mad about the situation. It just.
And how long has Ryle been operating?
Ryle's been February of 2006, but I started calling talk shows about this
Yes,
when
you
Arlene
do.
Violet
Yes,
was
you
on the
do.
radio in 1997.
And you hardly miss one. I brought up Gina's commentary. He was on my line in 10 minutes. Keep up the good work, and it is good work. Terry
you.
deserves a seat at the table in these discussions, and I think you just shouldn't take for granted a lot of this lazy intellectualism when it comes to this very important matter. Check out Ryle online at Ryle.org. RIILE.org, or close to it. Your
Yes.
state of mind when we come back. 228-1886, voicemail. We'll play it. State of mind at myritv.com is the email, and you can tweet and Facebook post at Dan Yorke Show. Patrick responded to my guest last night, Senator Dawson Hodgson. He said, can you imagine Hodgson as an AG teamed up with the Rhode Island State Police? What a fresh combination. He's running for Attorney General as a Republican. And yes, I agree. He will be fresh voice. We'll see you tomorrow with another fresh show, 7:30 on My State of Mind.